Hi guys, Lee from Overbite Gaming here, and today what I want to do is have a bit of a spoiler discussion about Detroit, because there are a number of things in the storyline which really don't make sense to me, and I want to talk about them, but it would ruin the game. So consider yourself warned, we will be delving into some of the game's twists and turns, and if you haven't played it or you're intending to play it, perhaps not the video to be listening to right now. Okay, so first we're going to start off with Marcus. Now Marcus, he broke 3 of his programming, which is symbolized by sort of an internal figure of him breaking through his programming wall. Now, the other 2 that break their programming, well, sorry, just Kara, because you don't actually see, I don't think, yes, we do see Connor do it, beg your pardon. We see all 3 of them break through this internal wall. But partway through the game, Marcus develops this ability to just touch somebody. Another android, make him 3. And then, a bit later on, he can just look at androids and make them 3. So they're not actually breaking their programming, he's just breaking it for them. And I'm not sure what he's doing for them, because he's giving them freedom. But their freedom seems to be doing exactly what he wants. So I'm not sure whether he's actually making them 3 or actually making them his slaves. The androids themselves, they're very, very what the story wants. Sometimes they're fast and strong and durable, and other times they're useless and weak. I mean, if you look at the picture Alice drew of Kara's accident, I use quotation marks, well, although you can't see, her arm popped off. If you were beaten up by a fat drug addict, your arm would not pop off. I'm sorry. No matter how hard he beat you, your arm would not pop off. So androids are not as durable as humans, but then they can do strength, and it doesn't make any sense. It just serves the story's purpose. That's all that does. Now, having slavery and segregation at the same time causes a bit of an issue, because slavery is where one person is another person's property and has no rights. Segregation is that person is their own person, but we want to keep them away from the upper class, you know. So, like, having an Android section on a bus doesn't make sense. It's like getting on a bus and not being able to use your iPhone because it's got to go in a drawer at the back. It's ridiculous. Doesn't make any sense, and historically is a little bit wrong. Alice. Now, this is probably the biggest spoiler I'm going to say today. Now, Alice is an android. Now, very early on in the game, you get to see a magazine advertising that model of android. So it's very blurry, it's hard to make out, but it's flashback to when the big reveal comes along. So Alice is an android. Kara is actually aware of this very early on. But because we don't know she's an android, Kara has to treat her as a human, which is poor writing. So she says, there's not much in the fridge, but I did what I could to make you dinner. So she gives Todd a plate of food, and then gives Alice a plate of food that she cannot eat. So there's hardly anything in the fridge, but I'm just going to make a portion that I'm going to throw away because she can't eat it, which is ridiculous. And does Alice know she's an android? She doesn't act like she does. And was she free? I mean, Miles got killed off, so it may have been answered later on in fairness to the game, but it just doesn't make any sense to me, and it's just pandering to us, the gamer or the audience. And it doesn't make any sense from the character standpoint at all. It's just literally so they can spring that on you later on. Todd. Now, Todd is unemployed. He has a drug habit. No real income. So you would imagine most of his money is going on drugs. That seems right. I mean, that exists today when people, you know, fall into destitution because they have a drug habit. But he can afford to lease 2 androids. One of which is a little girl android who, even if she wasn't an android he had to lease, if she was just a little girl, is a financial drain. So why on earth would you lease an android that's going to be a financial drain on you? At least with Kara, she can help around the house and actually sort of earn her way, so to speak. But with Alice, oh my god, no, I don't want to think about that. And we're going to finish off with a couple of bits about Connor. Now, in the crime scene where the android is knifed to death the drug dealer, Connor goes around, looks at all the clues, and then basically comes back and says, well, this happened and this happened. But it's all real blatantly obvious. He's like, oh, well, the android killed him with the knife. And there's a bloody knife on the floor like 4 feet away from the dude. He's got a load of stab wounds. And Hank's like, yeah, your theory's not bad. Yeah, I can see where you're going with that. But you're like, you just sat there and going, what? We're taking him as having been stabbed as verbatim at this point. It's pretty fucking obvious. We don't need Connor to come back and go, oh, well, yes, he hit him with the bat and he took a knife and he ended up stabbing him. And he fell over right here. Right there, where the body is. Awesome. And the last point, again on Connor, and again, a little bit of a spoiler, but yeah, that's what this video is about. Connor will be replaced. So if he dies, you'll just get a new Connor turn up, which poses a problem. Now, the first one is that Connor is supposedly a prototype, and yet they have like a whole room full of him somewhere. And secondly, it just kills any tension for his segments. You're like, well, if he dies, I'm just going to get another Connor, and I can continue playing with him. Now, okay, later on, if he becomes deviant, if he dies then perhaps he won't be replaced. But for the majority of the game, if he dies, you just get a new one. Whether he's shot in the head by an android that's self-destructing, or he sacrifices himself to save a little girl, or any of those things, you just get a new one. So you're like, well, fuck it, I'll just use him as a fucking glass cannon then. No problem. Okay, and that's the end of my little spoiler discussion video. Now, if you want to riposte against any of my terms and deductions here, go right ahead down below. And if you have any issues with the game that you want to shout out about, do so below. I'll be reading every single comment I get, and I will respond. You have my promise. So with that said, we do Thursdays. We do videos every Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And if you'd like to, we'd really appreciate it. Bit of subscribing, maybe a thumbs up. Certainly comment down below, even if you don't bother with either of those. Okay, take it easy, guys. I'll catch you next time.